Northern Ireland is the only place in the whole of the UK where gay marriage is illegal. What do you think about that?
You know, if the UK can do it, and if the south of Ireland can do it, then why can't we follow suit?
We're the same, we're part of the UK, and I don't see why we should be treated any different.
If gay people want to get married, who are they hurting? It's not breaking any laws. I don't really see why people can't have that simple right.
Now, we did actually speak to a number of people who felt that gay marriage should remain illegal. However, they felt that their views were too controversial and were unwilling to talk to us on camera. Northern Ireland is the only place in the whole of the UK where gay marriage is still illegal. How does that make you feel?
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating for us in the sense that your friends, your family, you would like to just do the same things that everybody else does, just to be included, to allow people to join in with you and share your joy, but you can't, and you can't because of quite a marginalised opinion.
And how does that discrimination manifest itself on a day-to-day basis?
Assaulted, verbally assaulted, harassed, kicked out of their family, put out of their church, discriminated against in employment. There's a whole range of bad experiences. And you know, it was only 33 years ago that if Michael and I were in a relationship, we could be locked up or charged by the police in Northern Ireland, yet the rest of the UK was 15 years before that.
I think as well, it's about visibility and acceptance. There's so many young LGBT people out there who just, they think they're by themselves. And if the people who you've elected to represent you don't actually comment on you, ignore you, you do feel marginalised. There's such a high rate of suicide ideation in young gay men, women, transgender people in Northern Ireland. It's frightening. And these young people are hurting themselves, and they're crying out just for acknowledgement, acceptance in a community. And unfortunately, it's still, a lot of it is still underground in Northern Ireland.
Can you give us an idea as to why the beliefs and views are so different here from the rest of the United Kingdom?
Most people in Northern Ireland want to see equal marriage rights for same-sex couples, just as already exists in the rest of the UK and now also exists in the Republic of Ireland. What is different about this place is our politicians. They are actually massively behind their voters, behind their constituents on this issue, and it is they that have held up progress on this issue. I think ultimately we will win, but I'm afraid it's going to be in spite of our politicians, not because of their support.
I applaud the likes of the Catholic Church and the Presbyterian Church, and indeed others, for coming out in defence clearly and unequivocally for the traditional definition of marriage. The members opposite, Mr Speaker, can choose to ignore the deeply held views of people who have voted for their parties forever. But we in the DUP will continue to oppose any redefinition of marriage, and unashamedly do so. We oppose the motion.
We did ask the DUP to take part. They declined, but they did send us this statement. It is vital that we approach the issue of same-sex marriage respectfully and sensitively, and we recognise there are strong emotions on both sides of this argument. As a political party, we are tasked with legislating, and the European Court of Human Rights has ruled the issue is not a human right, and in this instance, it is for the Northern Ireland Assembly to decide. Peter, tell me, why in Northern Ireland is the church so heavily influential over the politics, more so than in the rest of the United Kingdom?
So the state recognises a civil wedding and a religious wedding. You can have two different types of ceremony, but there's only one kind of marriage. And so because one of those roots is religious, we think it's important that we at least have a voice in that. But for us, you know, marriage is defined between a man and a woman, and the law changing isn't ultimately going to change that fundamental definition. And there's 19 countries in the world that recognise same-sex relationships, and there's about 170 that recognise marriage between a man and a woman. So there's sometimes a perception that Northern Ireland's a little bit backward or unusual in that. Actually, we're sitting with the majority of countries in the world. The last thing, and we've been really clear on this, we want to see is any kind of homophobic bullying or any kind of violence in terms of that.
It's been really fascinating, so I'll be really interested to find out what the future holds for Northern Ireland. Watch this space.